Good morning, Britain. The price isn't right. Supermarket bosses hit back at plans to cap food prices. Supermarkets say the proposal by Downing Street for a voluntary cap on the price of essential foods will fail to halt food inflation and will lead to shortages in the shops.
One supermarket boss told us the idea is idiotic, but the Prime Minister has made cutting inflation one of his big 5 promises to the public, and food prices are rising at nearly record levels.
A boat carrying British tourists has capsized in Italy. At least 2 people are reported to have died. 2 others are missing after the vessel was hit by a storm on Lago Maggiore.
Are you worried your children will spend too much time this half-term on social media? Or, as Bear Grylls argues, should parents trust their teenagers to manage their own time online? Get in touch, let us know what you think.
Magnificent and beautiful. That's how William Wordsworth described Windermere. But sewage and chemicals are threatening its very future. And comedians Steve Coogan and Lee Mack are going to tell us why saving the lake is no laughing matter.
Say hello to Maya.
And the countdown to this summer's Love Island starts right now. The first islanders will be revealed in just a few hours' time, and Maya Jama will join us live exclusively from Mallorca with the news on how you can get involved in the show.
And it will be rivalling that sunshine here in the UK. It is a bank holiday Monday. The weather didn't get the memo. Fine, dry with plenty of sunshine, and that continues all week long. I'll have all the details of that and more coming up on Good Morning Britain.
Monday, 29th of May, 2023. Live from Television Centre in London. This is Good Morning Britain with Charlotte Hawkins and Ed Balls.
Hello there, good morning. It's just gone 6 o'clock. Welcome to the programme. Happy Bank Holiday Monday.
Warm and sunny weather.
Yeah. So
we're stuck in here.
On the rare occasion the sun is shining on a bank holiday.
Oh, no. Did you have a good weekend?
I did have a lovely weekend, thank you. Enjoying the sunshine, but also I went somewhere rather special on Saturday night. ABBA Voyage for the 1-year anniversary. And ABBA were there, which was
They're always
amazing.
there. They're always there, like kind of...
The actual real ABBA.
The real ABBA?
Were there,
oh
yeah, which was phenomenal. But I have to say, you feel...
On stage? Were they actually up there singing?
No, they weren't actually up there singing, but we did see them. I had my photo taken with Frida, which was a very special moment, and I got all excited and got dressed up, which was great fun to be able to celebrate this. But you feel like they're actually there on stage. It really took me back to my childhood because it's amazing what technology can do. I was very overexcited. I've actually brought all my things in with me today because I was lucky enough to get the little special anniversary jacket. I might be sporting that one later. There you go. And my
backstage
special offer.
pass.
Yeah, I know. It was all going on. How about you? How was your weekend?
Were you not tempted to get up on stage?
I was very tempted to get on stage,
If you had to sing one song, what would it be?
Why do you think I dressed like a person from ABBA? Because I thought, if something goes wrong with the technology, I could maybe just step up there.
It was the same with me. Every time I went to a football match when I was chairman of Norwich City, I always took my kit.
Just in case?
Just in case. Maybe they were short. But it never happened. But I always thought, just in case.
How was your weekend?
It was fine. I went to a wedding in Chester, which was very nice.
Oh, lovely. What
kind of old friends of ours, getting married for the second time, and it was very beautiful.
Good,
really cool.
Good for them. Good weekend weather-wise. And listen, we're talking about half-term. We're talking about your children who may be spending a lot of time on their devices. We've got this debate this morning because Bear Grylls has come out and said, actually, he lets his children decide how much time they're going to spend on their devices. They are older, they're teenagers now, but he thinks it's good at preparing them for adulthood because, of course, they've then got to make their own decisions about what they do with their time, haven't they?
It's such a hard thing, this, because if you are a parent, it's so much easier to help your kids through stuff that you've done. So, going to school for the first time.
Yes.
We all did that. And learning to cross the road or learning to swim, we all had to do that. But the trouble with social media is none of us as parents had any experience of what it was like to have a mobile phone, to have the debates of the playground in your bedroom at 10 o'clock at night. So it's really hard, I think, to know the right way to handle this. And we're going to be talking about, I think we've got one view saying let them decide. Another view saying, actually, that's really
You have to
irresponsible.
keep an eye on them. I think it does depend on age, because with my 8-year-old, I keep an eye on how much time she's spending on it. She would spend the whole day on it otherwise. So I do have to monitor it. But maybe when they get a bit older, you have to give them a bit more freedom.
You do, but I think the other thing is if you've got more than one kid, whatever you do for the first, you have to do for all of them. And actually, in parenting, you learn. And, I know with our kids, we look back and thought we'd have done it differently a second time, but you only get one chance.
You do indeed. Get in touch this morning. We'll be talking about it later. Let us know your views. But our main news this morning is talking about the fact that supermarkets and some ministers as well have hit back at Number 10 plans to introduce price limits on food essentials.
Indeed, one unnamed supermarket boss told GMB that the Prime Minister's plans are idiotic. And the UK already has the lowest food prices in Europe. And Downing Street, Louisa James is there for us. The Prime Minister's been warned this morning that his plan is not actually going to make a difference. In fact, he's warned that on the front of the Daily Telegraph today, which yesterday said this was his plan.
Yeah, it is the supermarkets that are very unhappy with this plan. Idiotic, as you say, is the way one supermarket boss described it to us. Their argument is that supermarkets are already making very small profits, and the only way to make prices even lower would be to pay the suppliers less, and that could lead to shortages if those farmers then decide perhaps to sell their produce abroad instead, or just stop producing altogether. And the other possible consequence is that supermarkets could decide they have to put up the price of uncapped products to make up the difference. So plenty of criticism from the supermarkets, and 4 have signed up to the position of the British Retail Consortium.
We've already got a highly competitive market. It's very transparent. Customers can shop from shop to shop very easily to get the best price, and they are driving and have driven the best prices in the market. So having a pledge of this kind is completely meaningless. It won't mean anything for customers, and it certainly won't lower their prices in stores because they've already come down as far as they can.
Well, it is unpopular with some ministers as well, including, we hear, 2 cabinet ministers who are said to be unhappy at the idea of the government interfering in the markets. Now, Downing Street have told us that there are no plans to impose any kind of price cap, that any scheme would be voluntary. That is, in fact, what already happens in France, where supermarkets can decide whether or not they want to sign up to a scheme a bit like this. And in fact, they decide which prices they want to cap, which products they choose to do that on. But look, you can see where Downing Street are coming from on this, because we know that food inflation is at near record levels, 19%. One particularly staggering statistic is that we are all predicted to pay £1,000 more soon for our annual shopping bills than we were before the pandemic. So lots of pressure from households struggling to make ends meet. And then there is the political pressure as well on Rishi Sunak, who has made cutting inflation one of the 5 big promises he hopes will win him the next election.
Louisa, thanks very much. Well, that is our top story this morning. We'll be discussing it further with Kevin Maguire and Cindy Yu a little later. First, though, here's Sean with the rest of the day's news. Morning,
Charlotte,
Sean.
thank you very much indeed. Good morning to you. A boat carrying British tourists has capsized in Italy's second largest lake, with 2 people believed to have been killed and 2 people still missing, according to reports. The accident took place on Lake Maggiore, close to the Italian border with Switzerland. According to local media, of the reported 25 people on the boat, the majority managed to swim ashore, with 5 taken to hospital after the 16-metre boat overturned when a sudden whirlwind hit the boat. The Foreign Office has launched an investigation into whether any British nationals were involved in the incident. Now, around 1 in 7 people feel their debt is out of control, or that they have no way of paying it off. 2/3 of people also said they feel weighed down by their debt, according to a new survey. Juliet Dunlop is at the Ripple Project, a community project in Edinburgh, which helps people struggling with the cost of living. Juliet, good morning to you. What impact has the increased price of bills and food had on the number of people worried about debt?
Yes, morning, Sean. Well, household budgets, as we all know, are under huge pressure at the moment. People are struggling with the rising cost of food and energy, and it is a real burden for a great many people. Now, here at the Ripple Project in Edinburgh, they provide a range of services to help with some of those pressures. We are in their community cafe, in fact, this morning, and it is very busy here Monday to Friday. But this new survey reveals that debt is also a big problem for a lot of people taking on loans and credit cards just to get by on a day-to-day basis. And it is also, for many people, having an impact on the future when, for example, they might be able to retire, with some people taking on second jobs. Here's Matthew, a teacher who is also finding things very difficult just now.
It's tough having that sort of having to rely on family when, you know, I'm a teacher. I'm doing my best. I'm in a professional job. I work a lot of hours every month, and it's tough when the wages don't cover everything you need. It's really stressful, and it makes things very, very difficult.
So just one person there on how they are finding things just now. But I'm with Rachel Green, who runs the Ripple Project here in Edinburgh. Morning to you, Rachel.
Morning.
I know you are very busy just now.
Yeah.
Just how are you trying to help people within the community here?
So we provide services in response to community need, and we're seeing that need both increase and change. Our food work now includes our community cafe. We run a pantry every week. We have a vegetable market for people, a lunch club for older people, and we've also just introduced taking people to shops to be able to access more affordable food. So we're running that for people twice weekly just now.
And I know, Rachel, you also will help people with their finances. Just briefly, you will go through their money worries with them if they come to you.
Yeah, there's a long-term impact to this. You know, there are no corners to cut. So we work with partners like Grant and Information Centre in order for people to have a benefits check or to try and maximise their income, to try and avoid what we're seeing on a daily basis, which is stress, anxiety, low confidence, you know, self-esteem issues. If you can't manage, you can't manage.
Yeah, well, Rachel, thank you very much indeed. Now, they are doing as much as they can here to support people, but many charities, including this one, well, they do fear that the longer the cost of living crisis goes on, debt may well be the lasting legacy.
Juliet, thank you very much indeed. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has won another 5 years in power after he gained just over 52% of the vote based on unofficial election results. Erdogan's supporters took to the streets in celebration after he addressed them in a victory speech. Foreign leaders have sent congratulations, including Rishi Sunak, who pledged the UK's continued support for the Turkish people. The secular opposition leader, Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu, complained of the most unfair election in recent years. Also this morning, the Metropolitan Police will no longer attend emergency calls related to mental health incidents, according to a report in the Guardian newspaper. Met Chief Sir Mark Rowley is reported to have said the order will only be waived if a threat to life is feared. It comes after police forces across Britain have seen a significant rise in the number of mental health incidents that they have dealt with in the past 5 years. ITV has confirmed its daytime show this morning will be on air today. It will be presented by Alison Hammond and Dermot O'Leary. In a statement, ITV said this morning is not under review and there are no plans for the show to be axed. It comes after presenter Philip Schofield's resignation from the show on Friday after he admitted lying about a relationship with a younger colleague. Presenter Holly Willoughby will return to the programme after the half-term holidays on Monday, June the 5th. 7 men will appear in court today charged with the attempted murder of a senior police service of Northern Ireland detective. Detective Chief Inspector Caldwell was left with life-changing injuries when he was shot in front of his young son at a sports complex in Armagh, County Tyrone, after coaching a youth football team. Well, some of the nation's best-known comedians are among campaigners warning of an ecological catastrophe at England's largest lake. Steve Coogan, Joe Lycett, Lee Mack and Paul Whitehouse have joined forces with a campaign group to protest against untreated sewage, which is discharged from storm overflows into Lake Windermere. Nick Dixon is live in Windermere in the Lake District for us. Nick, it looks beautiful there at the moment, but campaigners say the World Heritage Site is dying.
Yeah, slowly but surely they feel that is exactly what's happening here, Sean, at Lake Windermere, and campaigners really very concerned, increasingly so, about the quality of the water here, but also the impact that this is having on local wildlife as well. The water company here are certainly partly responsible for the sheer amount of sewage that's being pumped into the lake from these storm overflow pipes, but there are a number of different factors at play here for sure, putting the lake at risk and threatening ecological collapse.
The calming waters and breathtaking views of Lake Windermere, why it's widely recognised as one of the most beautiful lakes in the world, an inspiration for the likes of Wordsworth and Beatrix Potter, but now under threat by the sheer amount of sewage being pumped into it.
So the sewage is the single largest input into Windermere of phosphorus. When we talk about the decline of Windermere, we're talking about phosphorus going into the lake. So that then obviously puts people that are coming here, and if they are swimming in blue-green algae, that is a risk to their health as well.
Campaigners say there are multiple factors to blame for this toxic problem at the lake, but believe the discharge of sewage from storm overflows by water company United Utilities is by far the most significant factor. In a statement, the company said it was determined to play its part in improving the health of the lake, and in the last 5 years have halved the amount of phosphorus entering Windermere from its processes, and in the next 2 years will work on reducing storm overflow operations.
Many who come here year after year to enjoy this beautiful landscape and the water, of course, say that they are really genuinely concerned about the future of the lake that gives pleasure to so many millions.
It's worrying to hear because you want the lake, the water to be pristine.
You don't want to be messing around in a lake if it's got sewage in it.
I think with sufficient investment, it could be restored to a state of cleanliness.
Campaigners want a guarantee of long-term protection for what they feel is the crown jewel of the Lake District. Nick Dixon, Good Morning Britain.
Everton manager Sean Dyche warned that the club needed a reality check after his side narrowly avoided relegation on the last day of the season. Abdoulaye Doucouré's goal secured Everton's Premier League status. However, it saw Leicester and Leeds drop down to the Championship. Will Godley has this report.
The final whistle blows time on Leicester's 9 years in football's top division. Once champions of the Premier League, not even a 2-1 victory over West Ham could keep their fairy tale alive, an ending they hoped would never come. Leeds needed a win to survive, but an early goal from Harry Kane quickly dashed any hopes of avoiding relegation, and their fate was sealed by full-time, losing 4-1 to Tottenham. At Goodison Park, Everton had a nerve-wracking goalless first half, keeping them in the danger zone, but a stunning goal from Abdoulaye Doucouré secured a desperate Everton another year in the top division.
We just can't have another season like this.
There's going to be a lot of questions asked about the board, new stadium and everything. We've just got to keep this going now. We should not be anywhere else other than the Premier League, and we're still there next season. Can't wait. Bring it on.
Everton's boss, Sean Dyche, says they must strive for more as they enter their 70th consecutive season in the top flight. Only Arsenal have been there longer, a record Leeds can only dream of. After 3 seasons in the Premier League, they are heading back to the Championship, along with Leicester City, 7 years on from ending the season as Britain's top team. Will Godley, Good Morning Britain.
Now, a real-life Forrest Gump has become the fastest British athlete to run from Los Angeles to New York. William Goodge, who once said jogging is boring, did the 3,100-mile run across America to raise money in memory of his late mum. The former semi-professional rugby player had never been on a solo run 7 years ago, but completed the challenge in 55 days, beating the previous record of 65 days set in 1969. Now, I do a bit of running, but when I see that guy, I mean, it's like a different species. Like how you would do that, how would you run for that length of time? It's incredible. Ed, you're shaking your head.
Not even on the physical level, but just getting your head around just running and running and running for that amount of time is quite something, isn't it?
I mean, managing the blisters.
I know, the blisters.
I mean, it's not possible to pound your body that hard and for there not to be kind of pain.
Consequences.
Yeah.
And you're all right, Sean, because you had a bit of a late night last night, didn't you?
I did.
Well, you weren't out partying.
No, I wasn't partying. I followed my football team, Tottenham. I went to Leeds, so I was at that game that we just saw. It's great. I've been to quite a few away games recently, and I've seen so many defeats. and we got a victory. Poor Leeds going down. The fans were great. You know, they were in full voice, really angry with their team and the board. But you know, it was a great occasion. But then the train was delayed on the way back. I didn't get back until 12:30 last night.
Ooh,
so I'm sort of, I don't know what I'm running on, but it's not gas. I don't know. I need to put something in the tank really to keep me going.
But at least you weren't relegated.
Yes, I know.
Mediocre season for Spurs.
I know. Yeah, terrible season. How about Norwich? How were they?
In the division below.
Yeah, but how was their season?
Mediocre season as well.
Mediocre?
Yeah, really mediocre.
You take that, though, rather than relegation.
Absolutely.
Sean, thank you very much. Well, let's find out if this gorgeous bank holiday weather is set to continue. Laura's got all the details. Morning, Laura. Oh, look at that. What a lovely view.
I know, it is so gorgeous. The sun is shining here this morning at Swansea Bay. At 10.4 metres, it has the second highest tidal range in the world, and the bay here stretches for over 8 kilometres. And at low tide, as it is coming up to now, the sea goes all the way out, discovering this whole expanse of coastline, which is a site of historical importance and a beautiful site for people to come and do bird watching as well. The sun is shining, and it is lasting all week long, which is fantastic news. And in the sunshine, it's set to be beautifully warm. It is worth pointing out the sea is pretty chilly at this time of year, as is the sand. This morning I didn't have any socks, so I've actually improvised, and I'm using gloves to keep my feet warm. But I'll be whipping them off later if you're heading to the seaside. You'll need your sun cream. Here's the details.
Looks like things are heating up. Boxed, proud sponsors of weather on Good Morning Britain.
People flock to the seasides at the weekend. They'll be flocking to the seasides yet again today. And if you are heading to one of the 19 main beaches in Wales, this one is the longest. I may well just put my towel down here and get my place for the rest of the day. Now, weather-wise, we've been hearing actually earlier in the news about how stormy it's been through parts of Italy. Much of the Med for those people who are heading off on their holidays for half-term is looking pretty unsettled. It wasn't too long ago we had the heat wave in Spain. Now, right through Spain, Portugal, through Italy and towards parts of Greece, it's very unsettled. Lots of showers around us further north where things are drier and brighter. And that means temperature-wise, no great shakes. In fact, the UK rivalling many holiday hotspots as we head through the next few days. But for today, like the last few, fine and dry with plenty of sunshine. The best of the blue skies. Further south, a little cloudier for the northwest of Scotland with the odd spot of rain in the air. But for many of us, it's another good-looking day with plenty of blue skies. And today in the sunshine, temperatures climbing up to 24 degrees. We could well yet again rival for the hottest day of the year so far and warming up a little more as we head through the next few days. For the weather where you are in detail, go to itv.com/weather.
Laura, thanks very much. Obviously cold sand there in Swansea for the gloves needed on the feet.
Fashion statement, question mark.
I'm not sure that one will catch on, but you never know.